Hello guys, so welcome back to my video, and in this video we'll be reacting to Acharya Prashant's Choose the Identity for Yourself. Let's see what Acharya Prashant has to talk about in this video, and let's evaluate what's there in this video. So one, two, three, go. Let's do this.
Arjun is in a miserable position. That is of entire mankind. It is not Krishna. Krishna.
Good evening, sir. One of the major problems we all face is our identity crisis. In today's generation, this problem is with our
इस बंदे को देखो सो रहा है वो सो चुका है.
identity crisis. In today's generation, this problem is with most of us, and especially it plagues us. So, how to deal with this? Can you give some advice on this?
Let's see, it's gonna be interesting.
See, we live in a world where it is possible, rather, it becomes necessary to choose from amongst various available identities, and also sometimes wear multiple identities at once.
Okay.
Now, which identity to choose? Choose identities that afford you the maximum freedom.
Interesting.
That is the only criteria, right? You could, for example, in a given situation, be a daughter, a student, an Indian, a seeker, a girlfriend, a student. There are so many identities possible to you. How do you know whether or not an identity is good for you?
So,
If an identity confines you, constrains you, prevents you from learning and growing up, that identity is not good for you.
इट्स लाइक कि मैं अपने घर में अभी भी मैं बच्चा बना रहता हूँ. मैं 20 साल का हो गया हूँ, बट मैं बच्चे जैसा बिहेव करता हूँ. मैं जानबूझकर बच्चे की तरह बिहेव करता हूँ ताकि मेरे माँ बाप जो है मुझे ज़्यादा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ना दे दे. तो ये तो मैंने सच बता दिया मेरे बारे में. बट हाँ, ये वही बोल रहे कि जहाँ ग्रोथ का कोई आसार नहीं दिख रहा, वैसी आइडेंटिटी मत बनाओ कि अभी पढ़े, अभी भी बच्चे बने अपने माँ बाप के सामने.
If someone says you should clip your wings because, let's say you are my daughter or my wife, then the identity of daughter or wife is not good for you.
What?
My daughter or my wife, because let's say you are my daughter or my wife, then the identity of daughter or wife is not good for you. Because an identity is not the final or ultimate thing in itself.
Identity can be changed. Identity is somewhat a flexible thing and not a rigid thing. So if someone is telling you, or if you're father of someone, okay, if you have one daughter, and if you're restricting her freedom, then your daughter has every right to choose not to behave like daughter in front of you, because now you have given no option to her. So she will opt for any identity like rebellion. Ki, why are you doing this to me? I'm no longer your daughter. Like she can say that.
Finally, it is about your growth.
It's about growth. Like
We are born.
whichever identity is restricting your growth, you need to wear off that identity and grow into some other identity.
Ignorant beings, and life has to be a journey in learning. Ever seen how ignorant, how confined, and how animalistic a newborn baby is?
True.
Very similar to an animal.
Hmm. But he's very much dependent on his parents. On. Yeah.
And you have to grow up.
Hmm.
You have to rise as a consciousness.
Hmm.
Before you die, you have to raise your mind and life to the highest level possible. Therefore, the identities that you choose must facilitate your rise through life.
Hmm.
If you remember this, it will be very easy to discard
That means identity helps the person to grow throughout his lifetime. Okay.
the wrong identities. The wrong identities will always want to limit you. Do not do this, do not go there, do not learn that,
Hmm.
do not be exposed to that,
Hmm.
because you have identity X. The
Hmm.
moment you hear this,
It's time
an
to change
alarm
that.
should go off. Ultimately, those who have known have taught us that you should be free from all identities. But that's a far cry. It takes a
That's
while to reach there when you are
hmm.
free from all identities.
That's a far-fetched dream. Now you can just change your identity, but ultimate goal is to come above all the identity and just be as it is.
Given your age, your station in life, you will find the compulsion to carry one identity or the other.
Hmm. Yeah,
Then
if I'm in college and I have to carry my student identity. So it's true. Like with student identities, there are many restrictions that will impose upon me, but that's fine. Like I have to do this.
this is the way to choose.
Hmm.
The moment an identity becomes an obstacle
Hmm.
in your inner growth, you should immediately
Inner growth,
realize
right? Right. Inner growth. कि अगर मैं अंदर से ग्रो नहीं हो रहा वो आइडेंटिटी के कारण तो मुझे वो आइडेंटिटी छोड़नी है। ऐसा नहीं कि तुम स्टूडेंट हो और तुम चाहो कि मैं दीवार टाप के बंक मार के चले जाने का फ्रीडम रखता हूँ और मुझे वो फ्रीडम नहीं दे रहा है तो मुझे स्टूडेंट वाली आइडेंटिटी मिटा देनी चाहिए। वो एक्सटर्नल वर्ल्ड में बात नहीं हो रही है, वो इंटरनल वर्ल्ड की बात हो रही है जो आचार्य प्रशांत बोल रहे
that it is a bad omen.
हैं।
That identity is in fact a cage, discard it.
हम्म,
And any identity that makes you strive to become better. For example, when you become a student,
इट्स अ गुड
what
आइडेंटिटी
does the identity of being a student necessitate?
कि लर्न,
Let's say you're a
आई एम
student
रेडी
now
टू लर्न एनीथिंग।
and you have an I card, an identity card, right?
हम्म,
You are a student, you are
हम्म,
identifying as a student.
हम्म,
Now, what will become compulsory for you? Learning,
टू
attending
टू लर्न।
classes, making notes,
हम्म,
hmm? Gaining exposure.
That is why everywhere in every institution they give us certain identity so we can know what our function is. If they won't give us any identity, then we will find it difficult to find identity. And with identity, with sorry, with identity, like there comes responsibility, there comes function, there comes work. So identity implies inherent work that we need to do. So that's a really good insight by me. It's an original thought, I think so. That कि अगर मुझे आइडेंटिटी नहीं पता होगी, आइडेंटिटी पहली बात ज़रूरी इसलिए है क्योंकि अगर आइडेंटिटी ही नहीं होगी तो मुझे पता ही नहीं हो कि मुझे करना क्या है। फॉर एग्जांपल मैं कॉलेज में जाता, अगर मुझे ये आइडेंटिटी ही नहीं दी गई कि मैं स्टूडेंट हूँ तो मैं पढ़ूंगा ही नहीं। मैं बोलूँगा अरे मैं क्यों पढूं, मैं क्यों पढूं, मैं तो एक इंडिविजुअल, मेरा मन चलाऊंगा, मैं तो यहाँ मैं पढ़ूंगा नहीं, मैं तो नीचे गार्डन में बैठूंगा जाके। तो वो ना हो इसलिए हमें आइडेंटिटी दी जाती है। तो आइडेंटिटी कोई बुरी चीज नहीं है।
Having an internship.
हम्म।
Now, this identity, it appears is good for you because by carrying the identity of a student, You are being made to grow internally. So this identity is
Hmm.
good. This identity is good.
Hmm.
Are you getting it? Similarly, any identity that helps you evade responsibility is not good for you.
Hmm.
For example, if you use the identity of the student to say, oh, I'm just a student, therefore
Hmm.
I'm not supposed to be very responsible, then this identity is not good for you.
In that
And
particular
many a time,
context, so it depends on context. In college context, yes, student identity is good, but in life context, like if you will just give reason, just make excuse that I can't do this and that because I'm a student, then it's not a good identity for that context. So context is really important.
times you will feel tempted to do this, but I'm just a student.
Hmm.
The thing is, you might be a student, but you're also 20 or 25 years old,
Hmm.
and that's a lot of years. You
Yeah.
ought to be responsible.
Hmm. That's true.
Hmm? So that's how one chooses her identity. See what that identity is doing to you.
Hmm.
It's a very delicate matter, attaching any identity to your name, because with identities come responsibilities and
Comes
also
behavior too.
constraints. You must know very well which responsibilities to take.
Behavior is directly dependent to identity. So it's a very sensitive matter to choose identity because the whole behavior of you will be governed by that identity. So Acharya Prashant is saying like choose identity with great care, with great patience. That don't choose wrong identity for yourself because it will bring you bad behavior. That's really
What kind
true.
of constraints to avoid? Do
Hmm.
not just very quickly
Hmm. Yeah, do
become
not just very quick.
somebody. Do
Yeah.
not just very quickly take on an identity.
Patience. Take a deep breath and then decide. Think, contemplate, then decide.
It can become a lifelong bondage. And
Hmm.
there are many such identities, right?
Hmm.
Once you take those identities upon yourself, they become pretty much irreversible. What will you do now? And having that identity
Hmm.
has certain implications.
Hmm.
Even the court will ask you, if you do not want to bear these responsibilities, why did you first of all accept that identity?
Hmm.
Are you getting it? Hmm?
Becoming a father is also an adoption of identity. That with becoming a father, there comes a lot of responsibility, and if you're not ready for that, then you better don't have any kid. Otherwise, like it will be hell for you. Not hell, but it will be a very restricting life for you. Then you will complain that life has no meaning and I'm facing existential crisis. No, you are not facing existential crisis. You are facing wrong identity repercussions. That's the word that I've invented.
So be very careful. Be very careful and
Hmm.
keep asking yourself, am I becoming more free?
Am I becoming more free?
Am I learning?
Am I learning?
Is my mind becoming clearer?
Is my mind becoming clearer?
Am I growing in compassion?
Am I
Am
growing
I
in
becoming
compassion?
more responsible?
Am I becoming more responsible?
Those identities that
These are the five
facilitate
things that
this
this is a criteria
growth
to
within
choose
you
which
are
identity
good
is
for
good or
you.
bad.
Those identities
These are the five things to choose that yes, your identity is good if this five things it fulfills.
that do the opposite must be dropped or avoided.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, respected Acharya for the valuable insight. He tells us about Vedanta, whether you are be or not. How will you make the decisions? And the decisions also depend upon the importance you give to the particular things. Acharya also talks about the spiritual bankruptcy, how people went
Okay, so I
bankrupt.
think it's over now. Yeah, it was a great video. Like I also got to learn about something today. And yes, it's a It's a very important idea that choose identity for yourself. That identity which gives us freedom, which is more inclined towards internal growth. Are you growing in compassion or not? So these are the things that you really need to care about when you're choosing identity for yourself. So yeah, it was a really good video, and thank you for watching if you are watching it till now. And yeah, so I will bring this kind of videos in the future as well. So if you like the video, please do subscribe my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Take care.